Good afternoon. This is Mr. Don again. I'm going to be showing you, this is just a preview of the demonstration I'm going to give you. I'm going to show you visually some of the techniques and some of the equipment you're going to need. Watercolor has some specific needs as far as equipment goes, and follow along. I'll try to explain all of this during class, and we can just pile on this stuff, add this stuff on as we go. Watercolor is a great medium, as I've said before, and I'm looking forward to sharing all this with you. And it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of fun things we're going to do. We're going to have a Mother's Day project, a Father's Day project, so we've got a lot of fun things coming up. So keep your mind open. You need to have find a subject matter so you can follow along as we go. Be prepared on Friday or on Wednesday, whichever class this happens to be falling upon. So check this out, and again, if you have any questions, you can email me. You know my email. So check this out. The better you're equipped, the better this experience will be. First of all, what you see right now is not much there, but a paint box. I have all my paints in here. I have a bunch of different paints. I have a ton of brushes, and I buy brushes as I find them if they're on sale. Again, they should be natural hair brushes, as these are. You should have some sponges. You should have some candles, wax candles, masking fluid. I don't have an example of masking fluid here, but I have a bunch of different paint. And I'm going to caution you about the paint, because if you're just learning, you don't need to have this ultra professional paint. The brushes I bought, watercolor is not my main medium. I'm an oil painter, but I love watercolor. Watercolor is absolutely beautiful. I love the people who influenced me in watercolors. Winslow Homer is a great watercolorist. He has a large portfolio of watercolors. You should look at them. John Singer Sargent is another great watercolorist, as is Frank Benson. These are the three guys who are my primary people, the primary artists who I look to for inspiration, and it's just absolutely beautiful stuff. So I would suggest taking a look at what they're doing. The brushes, again, I bought a set of brushes. There's probably about 12 brushes like this. They're watercolor brushes. They have this angular thing at the back here, so you can scratch in details. But they're all natural. They're all either natural or synthetic hair, but they're more hair. They're not the synthetic fibers that you use for acrylic painting, the nylons. Again, I've had this brush for centuries, as you can see in its condition, but it's a nice wash brush. It has a nice, allows a nice big wash, and it's good to have. Your paints, if you're just starting out, you can go to Artist Loft or to Ocean State Job Lot, and you can get a box of this stuff. Actually, they have both of these. This is Artist Loft is the brand from Michaels. Reeves is what they have there also, and it's a box set, and they'll give you enough to get started. I suggest the tubes rather than the cakes, but it's a preference you're going to develop. These are cakes. And once you start this, you take it's a very simple process. You take your water, you mix it in here, and you can start painting right away. And it's a beautiful thing. And it doesn't give you much. It's small. Doesn't give you much work area. However, this would be great if you're on a trip or you're going hiking or something up in the woods. You can throw this in your backpack, and this will allow you to make a nice little watercolor painting. I use, don't be told to, I was told at a class I took to buy these professional level paints. Then come to find out the guy was one of the guy's friends, who was also a student who had been taking classes for years, she was the one who was selling the paint, and it was a little bit of a scam. So I like Utrecht paint, but there are a lot of other different paints out there that are just as good. And I bought these because I'm faithful to the brand, and I use those as oils. And I got this whole set here. And I think they have landscape sets and portrait sets and different things. But this is, again, it's a whole set. It's a fatter, shorter, fatter tube. But it's good stuff. And again, what you do is you buy a palette. And there's a whole bunch of palettes available. A palette is what you paint on. You're probably familiar with this type of a palette that the artist would hold in his hand and put his paint on. I prefer this, but you can also buy this. This is put out by John Pike, and this is a bigger version of it, and I use both of them, depending on what I'm doing and how I'm working. This is a Walmart Michaels type purchase. You put all your paint in here, and you just keep refilling it from your tubes, and they'll last for quite a while. And this is the John Pike. You have much more, many more mixing areas. But this, I got this. This was on a seconds, bin clearance, and so I got this. And it's a nice. It's a very nice. It's plastic. It's a very nice. Nice piece of equipment. You can use something as simple as just an egg carton. The plastic egg cartons. Now put the paint in the egg holders. Then put mix your paint in the top part of it. So there's a lot of different things you can have, but you need to have something like this. This closes up nice, and again, this is something you could throw into your backpack if you're going hiking, you're going out in the field. You can work real small. Your paper. This is 140-pound cold press paper. I went to Michael's, and they were having a sale. This is Canson paper. And again, if you're just starting out, don't be worried so much about the paper. There are sheets you can buy that $10 or $15 in just one sheet of paper. You don't need that right now. This is 9 by 12. I'm going to suggest to work small. It's much more easy to control, and you're not wasting much paper, because when you make mistakes in watercolor, you usually have to throw it away. There are some people out there who will mop up the colors and clean the pages, throw it away and start over. What I do when I'm starting one of these, I usually mark them off, and I tape them off. There's all different types of painting tapes. I prefer the blue, but I'm running out of blue, so I'm going to be using the beige masking tape. And what I basically do is I'll mark it off, mark it out, and then once it's marked, I will. I have two 4x6 sections here. I strongly suggest, and again, if you can, hopefully you can see that, I strongly suggest using standard sizes. If I make two killer watercolors right here with these two little blocks, I can go to Michael's, even maybe a Walmart, and I can get a decent mat for this. Maybe even a decent frame for this, but these have to be matted. You can't have they have to be under glass, and you can't have this touching the glass. So you need to have a nice frame, and you need to have a mat. The mat keeps the glass from touching the painting. You can get a mat here for $2 or $3 that would fit one of these paintings. If this was 3.5 by 5 7/8, I'm going to have someone cut a mat or cut it myself, and I don't want to do that. Make your life easier. Use standard sizes. Standard sizes: 4x6, 5x7, 8x10, 9x12. 12x16, 14x18, 1620, 1824, 2024. Watercolors are beautiful and can be done that big, but I would stay in around the 8x10 range for now. I'm working 4x6 and 5x7. So I'm staying small because it's easier to handle and less prone to mistakes. All right, and what I'll do here is I'm going to take the masking tape, and I'm just going to surround it with that, and that way I'm going to have a nice clean edge at the end of it. And I'm going to do this to the whole thing, and I did this with blue, and this is what I'm going to come up with. And this is where I'm going to paint. This is my arena. This is where I'm going to be doing all the work. So here, I've taken a couple minutes offline to set this all up. And I have my two working areas here, and I can start working anytime I want. The last thing I want to say in this first video is about the paper. There are two kinds of paper: cold pressed and hot pressed. And there's a poundage attached to this. The poundage is based on how many sheets in a ream. A ream is usually 500 sheets. How much does 500 sheets of this weigh? It weighs 140 pounds. So that's why this would be 140-pound paper. That's when you go and you're looking at printer paper. All those weights are based on how much weight is involved with 500 sheets of that product. The hot press part of this, hot pressed, when you think of hot press, think of ironing clothes. Think of hot press as being ironed out and flat. It's a nicer, flatter surface than cold press. Cold press will have some different textures to it, slightly textures, and there's different degrees of this. This has a little bit of a texture, a little bit of tooth. You can see see the patterns in there, but that would be the difference. The hot pressed is flatter and smoother, and cold press is a little bit more textured. So with that, I'm going to end this first video, this part one, and I'm going to go into part two in a minute. I'm going to start putting some paint on the canvas. So thanks for watching, and check back in to see the rest of this.